So, hello everyone, this is Michi Hoyer now from Avid Chronic Racing, and I am live for the Sim Pit testing the new Formula E. Just as it is been released right now, the new Formula E of Studio 397. It's kind of a bit of stuff going on my screen which I do not like too much, so I have to correct that quickly before going on with the actual thing to do, which today will be having some fun with the new Formula E mod of rFactor 2, and that was Sean Cole being live here on the Sim Pit, just like I think an hour ago, having some interesting race, I have to say, against, well, people would call it Alien, so do I. So very, very talented people, Team Redline guys, finalists of the Vegas E-Race. So there was quite some competition going on. So today it's day one of this Formula E type thing, and I've just thought about what if I just go online, hit the actual default setup, hit the track, and see how I can improve from there. As I would like to welcome Steam King and Paul here on the chat. Thank you very much for joining, you guys. Well, how do you guys get in here so quick? What you mean in that Formula E thing, or get quick into that streaming thing? You just hit live and then you're there. That's how you do it in streaming wise. But no, honestly, I think you're going on about this this being quick thing. There is no real technique, I can tell. It's just dedication, passion, a lot of practice, knowledge, and I think some self-esteem as well. So right now, having a quick look at the setup. What's definitely very interesting is that you only can adjust pit stops for one pit stop, or no pit stops at all. You can only have, well, yeah, a fully charged battery or an empty battery, so every single time you go out of the pits, it's either being full battery or low battery. Currently want to put defaults. So this is the default set, 2 gears, first gear and second gear both fixed. Going to 100 kph and 200 kph, or a little bit above that. Steering lock, 34 degrees. Well, standard differential settings. Wings, maximum is 21 in the front and 23 in the back. And there is a fun fact about this Formula E type being, in qualifying, those Formula E types are raced with the maximum downforce available just for that one lap with massive grip. However, in the race, in order to decrease the drag, decrease every kind of resistance, they are racing like no downforce whatsoever in order to have a good life on the battery. So for now we want to make a good race set, so we put it probably P2. We don't want to lose all of the downforce. Torque maps. So you can choose between torque map of 110 to 200 kilowatts. That's 10 kilowatts per setting. And we got 10 region modes, which goes from 9 to 0. And the higher the mode, the more regen is going to be done. And I think I will show you now the difference of car behavior and regen mode just by going out and do 1 or 2 laps in full power mode. Oh dear. In full power mode and no regen whatsoever. So alright, I have a feeling that I need to drag backwards all the brake bias, because otherwise Did I stall the engine? Yeah, I did. I can simply put it back on again. Right, so we want to do 1 or 2 laps just to see the impact of regen mode, and we want to have a look at the battery loading. For that, the car is still twitchy in the back. That means that's brake bias fully to the back now. Oh, sorry. Now this car is so easy to spin. It's kind of ridiculous. But you can always spin it on like an inch, square inch or something. Right. Since it's one of the first laps as well for me here, probably be super bad. Anyway, we want to look at the fuel consumption or electricity consumption first, because with that settings going on, you need to make sure that the battery life is just enough. Oh, and driving this car is so weird, as you can see. Right, so starting the lap 92.2 on full power mode setting. Going down the first corner. A little bit the twitch of the exit. Braking for turn 2, very smoothly. Turn in. Go around that chicane. There comes turn 5. Turn 6, another hairpin. And you only use first for the very slow corners here. Turn 7, turn 8, a double left-hander. For going into turn 9, which is a right-hander, then ending into a left-hand turn 10, which will bring us back to the start-finish straight. And for the first time we pull in 1 minute 4.5. And now look at the fuel consumption, as I completely have to stop. This is 6.5 liters has been used on the last lap, or 6.5 well, electricity, whatever. And now we want to see what the impact of regen mode is, and the regen mode always kicks in as soon you're off the throttle, generating power at the back of the car. So to just show you what happens then, last time I broke with 51% of brake bias at the front, or even yeah, it was 51 I think, or 51.5, make it 51. Yeah, and now see, you immediately gonna lose the car. And for what reason? Yes, exactly. For the reason of the regen mode starting to be attached on the back axis. So with the rear producing some power being supplied back to your engine, you will have some engine brake in the back, which you want to have biased on the brake balance, so you put the brake balance a lot more to the front, just like that maybe, and then we can see what we can do now. Car balance wise, the car is now turning a lot more under off throttle, so especially will help us into the hairpins. And that's why we gain so much time in that hairpin already. So braking for turn 2 needs to be a little bit more gentle because the car tends to step out. As you can see, quite easy to lose it. Next hairpin's gonna come. And every time you off throttle, the car is braking and generating electricity, which you then can make use of. We go in a little faster. Now we have a look at the fuel consumption, which is just 5.7 electricity per lap. So that's over, I think, yeah, it was 0.8 percent of electricity in a difference. So as you can see, massive impact here on the regen mode from the engine, not just driving wise, but also physically. As I want to save this one, Michi Hoyer Hong Kong setup AO1, because that's gonna be a base to work from. As I quickly have to reload the game since I get some stupid stuttering because of my graphic settings, I assume, so I have to pull them off low a little bit. It won't make too much of a difference, but driving wise it will help me a lot, obviously. So I just go back into my private server. In real life they do have 2 gears, I think, if not 3, but mainly running in 2. About the regen mode being able to change mid-race, I'm not too sure. I haven't found the setting yet. But probably it's not really possible. About the electricity being regained, we probably have to look into the Motec files. So as Nick Fry asked there, whether the first gear is a better gear to recharge the battery. Probably with the more revs being in place there, it should be. However, if you shift back to the first gear, the car is completely gone. Like immediately on braking, the car steps out. So that's what I had from the first impression. Obviously, I just got around 4 or 5 laps to get known with the track a little bit, be a little bit more familiar. So shifting down to first gear is only recommended if the revs are really low on the second gear already, and if you are in a very stable position, like heading wise with the car. So that's definitely a disadvantage, or definitely something really difficult when comparing to another car. Yes, so I have to clearly wait a little bit until the track is finally loaded, and that is that typical rFactor 2 cage system. So once you've loaded the track and the car once in a graphical condition, it's loading faster when you rejoin. However, since I changed something, this cage is deleted, and now needs to be redone. Well, the car is very difficult to drive, and that's what real drivers said as well, and I only can agree on that because haven't seen what we already saw right now is really difficult. Nevertheless, we will have a look on the second page of the setup possibilities being available on this Formula E car, as I hopefully get back into the lobby quite soon. Well, Hillside, this is an interesting story, I have to say, because basically I would have been banned then as well. I've done some project cars in between, and I got my personal opinion on that game, or a KD game. Anyway, going on with the setup we just saved. looking at the suspension. So you can select between two spring rates, which is either soft, medium and hard. There are other spring rates in the back, soft and hard, so I think 5 or a few more available there. Definitely wanted to have it a little bit softer in the back, and you want it to have medium in the front. Please don't ask me about dampers at the minute, because I have no clue about them, even not how to set them in a car like this. Ride height, we want to go 2 clicks lower there and 2 clicks lower there as well. Anti-roll bars, those are definitely some interesting settings. You have, going from detached, you have P1 18S plus 208.5, 5 P's of them, and then you get into a next level, which is plus 171, and I think then you get into 30 times 3 plus 171, which is then be the hardest setting available on those anti-roll bars. Please guys, do not get me into discussion what those values mean. As far as I know, there's some real life setup data available for that mode, so probably has to do something with the real life data being provided by the engineers. However, I have no clue what they mean. Especially in the back, I want this thing to be detached because I need a very much suspensional grip at the back, and I keep this probably medium hard at the front. I'll leave the toe where it is. Looking at the chassis, there is some weight distribution. I keep it at the minute where it is. I think can go quite a bit different there, I have to say. But as I said, we keep it into standard. Maximum pedal force, I would reduce that a little bit since you can't do any full braking anyway. And I keep the tire pressures the same at the minute, and we'll be working on that later. And for now, I just go out racing and try to put in some reference time to then work on the set or try to improve. This thing is really very twitchy in the back. Yeah, I think it's shape and tension or torsion or whatever that other setting is called, but I have no clue how they relate to each other. Right, so still being in regen mode 9, and I think, yeah, I'm in full power as well. I think I can't change the engine boost. I thought the engine boost might have been the regen mode or the brake map, and I think there is no way to set the brake map in the car on rFactor 2, so we have to agree on a regen mode at the beginning of the stint. And Nick, I hope you have just seen what happens if you shift too early to the second gear. Like I can explain again, and first gear, and there you go. You literally spin it off, and that's something you don't want to have on a street circuit like this Hong Kong circuit is. Want to have it clean and tidy, easy to control, and turning very well and very stable. I'm sorry guys, that track keeps you as a so busy as a driver. I only can glance at the chat once or twice.
The lap was a 1:03.99.
As our first real lap time is a 103.988. I have no clue about the server conditions they had when they raced, as I outbraked myself for turn 2. So I can't really say what my lap time would have been worth in that promotion test today. Approaching turn 6. Yeah, and you literally drifted around with that regen mode. It's don't want to say ridiculous, but it's quite awful balance-wise. A lot of sliding going on.
The lap was a 1:03.36.
And as you can see from the tires, the front tires are just at 60 degrees, whereas the rear tires are over 100 at some point. That also tells you something about this mod in general. Like, definitely the rear tires suffer a lot from heat and thermal degradation, hence why they are already some percent off compared to the front. And this drifting and sliding obviously contributes to that as well. And that also will mean that I'm going to expect a massive amount of balance change very soon. Because this car is really a beast and tends to slide a lot.
The lap was a 1:03.07.
I waited a little bit too long with shifting now. Anyway. Too early on the turn in. So anyway, the car feels very, very good. However, from past Formula cars, I remember that the lowest tire pressure is usually the best, which isn't that low here. So I will definitely keep the front tire pressure a little bit more up, and I will also increase the camber at the front while decreasing it a little bit in the rear. That should help me on acceleration. Furthermore, the brake bias. What about the brake bias? I think it's just fine where it is right now. I could need a little bit more grip in the back, and I hope I can fix it by decreasing the rear ride height in order to get some diffuser working a little bit more. And we probably go with this and see whether we can improve. The virtual best lap time we can do is a 102.4, and no lies, I think I saw some 101s in that stream an hour ago. So definitely still some time to gain around this circuit, especially when outbraking yourself. Like, this car is so difficult to drive, sometimes you really get a lot of laps to fully get used to it and make use of it. So staying in second gear isn't probably the best opportunity. Anyway, slightly touching the wall. We try to get in a little bit of speed for our next timed lap. too early on the power, immediately getting a load of understeer, which is quite an familiar thing with that car, I think. A little bit twitchy on braking, which points to the fact that the brake bias probably should be a little bit more at the front. However, if your front locks up and you can't turn in the wheel, that's probably just as bad. Railroad, by the way, is static, so the grip doesn't build up while driving on the circuit, so that we can see every setup change we do just literally comes from car performance.
0.64.
I was really close from crashing it. Feels more like a rally car right now. As we come down the start-finish straight again, doing a 102.
That was a 1:02.38.
Too early into the first gear. And then you really have to be patient on the throttle. We've managing those rear tires a lot better than in the run before. That's clearly to see, I think. So the rear tires are in a lot better shape than they were in the previous stint. Holy moly, if the car starts sliding, which can happen as you go full off the throttle with the regen mode being 1, look at that. I turn in and the car just spins around and comes to a hold. That's all for that regen mode in the back of the car. Helps slowing down on the straight quite a lot when doing lift and coast. However, it's probably not being the best for car balance mid-turn. So you need to have a lot of managing skill on the rear end.
That was a 1:06.31.
As we're trying to improve the lap time a little bit, if somehow possible. Oh, not with all that sliding going on there. Should not outbrake myself. About the sound of the car. Yes, it's an vacuum cleaner, and yes, it's a Formula E electric drive. Oh, that was touching the wall quite badly.
1:04.85.
But I do think... Ah, for God's sake, that torque. It could have been a lot worse. Really could have been a lot worse. Like when watching Formula E, I do not really know what to say there. So, yeah, too much torque going on in the back. So I go back to pits. And to be fair, the steering is a little bit too aggressive as well. So I'm gonna put back some degrees of turning angle. I do like how you hear the music being played in the grandstands. So the massive party that's being displayed. Gonna show you. Like, do you hear the party going on? There was some famous DJ on there to design the sound, I heard. So, electrical music for electric racing event. So, very nice indeed. It's a fun, really fun feature. Not sure if it doesn't distract too much while driving.
The lap was a 1:49.48.
Nah, can't do a quicker lap than I did already. So probably need to box again. About the general physics of the force feedback. There is plenty amount of force feedback being attached to the G29 here, and I don't mean this being attached by Logitech, so it's being attached definitely by rFactor 1. There's not very much feedback coming through the wheel itself, like from the force feedback forces or something, but the things given from the force feedback point into a very clear direction, so you always know what you gotta do or what you gotta not to do. So that's definitely interesting stuff. Going to park the car here for a minute. Going back to the general section, I want to have a lot less turning on the front wheels. As well as I want to have some change on power setting. A little bit more understeer would be nice, whereas being totally off throttle, a little bit understeer would be nice as well. Chassis wise, I keep stuff at the minute. Brake balance, I put it a little bit more to the front now. Anyway, we try to attack this 102.3 again, as we clearly can make it into the 101s. Just need to make the lap stick. Well, aiming on the battery, I think you can clearly calculate it for yourself. So, for 100 electricity being divided to by 23 laps, you probably need to do something around 4.7 on the battery. So what I'm doing here is currently complete qualifying mode, that's for sure. So I now will attack the time before then looking into a race pace. Oh, that grip felt nice there. A little bit too much wheel spin out of that hairpin, otherwise this would have been a good first sector, I think. And now we got the brake balance too much to the front, creating a massive amount of understeer. I'm not sure really whether this is fun to drive. It definitely is to some point, but it's very hard to drive it consistently very fast. Fun-wise, it's definitely worth the try, but yeah, going on it really quick is what makes things difficult, as you can see.
That was a 106.03.
Again, I was too early on the shift, and with those temperatures and the rear tires, probably that's job done. Nice drift there. Trying a brake bias like this, maybe. Yeah, feels a lot better for turning. So trying to get front tires a little bit up to temperature. Sliding them through those corners. And then preparing for the first fast lap of this stint now. And once again, not a perfect hairpin. Going wide on that exit really didn't help too much. Comes down to the last corner, which I slide a lot, touching the wall, and
That lap was a
only just.
1:02.36.
How can that be faster, really? Anyway, I'll take it. Oh dear. Yep. And completely overdriving the car here, having 150 degrees into the tires. Nevertheless, I feel that the front end could provide a little bit more grip, hence why I decrease the front ARB. Those walls being kind of concrete with deadly edges. That should be improved a bit. Don't think that it's that cornery and edgy around in the real world. And we're looking good on that lap so far. Let's not crash. No.
That was a 1:02.18.
That little touch of the wall was where the 101 went. So second attempt. That looks better.
That was a 1:01.92.
Yeah, first gear too early. 101.9, that's everything I wanted to have for now. Proven myself that I could have been in the grid just right before. At least I would have been fitted into the pack being in one lap. So, as we were talking about how to race this thing mid-race, we are aiming on a fuel consumption and a consistent lap time probably of 103. So I've analyzed Enzo's Bonito race a little bit in that show run from rFactor 2, and he was constantly racing 103 point, I think it was 9 or 6 or 9, somewhere around that, so mid to high 103s. So we will definitely want to have a look into a lot of lift and coast, what you need in order to regain enough power in order to make it, and this time we can make some look towards tires as well, because if you don't push the accelerator too hard, you either do not spin, no, you both. You do not spin the rear tires while not burning electricity, but you really have to adapt your driving towards that lift and coast thing. But anyway, we're going into the first lap in race mode. We're on our way to purple, are you kidding? Anyway, so much lift and coast that needs to be done. Once you are stabilized under the coasting thing, it's pretty much okay to go. So we come around the first the first lap and do a 103.
That was a 1:03.78.
0.78. Right has been the average of Bonito, and we did a 4.0 on the fuel. So I bet there was a lot more power being applied in average. Anyway, I do think this average lap time obviously comes from a not as long lasting tire. I think Bonito would have done 102s in the beginning of the race, that's for sure. Doing this lift and coast of the car actually feels quite okay driving it if you don't touch the wall. As you can see,
lap was a 1:04.06.
there's also enough tire still on the tire left. So I haven't burned quite as much of the tire as I have burned when going for qualifying runs. Nevertheless, I think I found the way, especially in the first corner, to where to still gain some time. Going through those corners a little bit more slowly and cautiously seems to be a lot better time-wise, which brings me to the idea to show you a box. So we box this lap, and oh, I can't change tires for God's sake. So that means I will just go into the pits and park the car. I could probably show you how easy those things are to spin or to turn around. Like you turn them around on a square inch, really. Look at that. Doing very nice donuts in the pit lane. And I think you can go on this forever. Will be interesting how this looks from would have been too good if that worked. There you go. You can really turn this car around on a on a little pin. Yeah, and you're right. They are changing the car in real life rather than the tires. Nevertheless, tire change would be good. So we're working on brake bias. Oh, this button of this G25 is odd sometimes. So I think with doing a lot more lift and coast into this turn 1, I can go even a little bit faster. Just need to make sure to not miss out on the other spots then as well. Oh! Yeah, the walls are quite heavy and bumpy. Who would like to see a race against AI? I do not really know. I think we are able to see about the track quality when Formula 1 kicks off in Hong Kong, which will be the upcoming weekend. Not sure whether the AI will do some lift and coast. but I think they are running a lower power mapping, which you also can do if you like prefer racing this car more to its maximum rather than do lift and coast.
Their lap was a 1:05.21.
Holy moly. What a good first corner. Yeah, if you get everything greatly together. A 101.5 or something would be at stake for me.
Was a 1:02.00.
To be fair, I don't follow anyone of the Formula E, but there are quite some famous guys out there. Too much wall touching, so as you can see, a virtual 101.5 being the case, and now I just try to add some AI and have some little race. Add AI, add AI. So here you can see what kind of AI is running on that format as well. So we just add up the AI so we get 20 cars. Then race settings. Probably gonna kill myself then. See the race settings. Things. Oh. Can't really say how long the race will be, but they quickly gonna disqualify me, so but I'm going to start at the very back. Thanks. And then we go. Practice 2. Don't need this. Warm up, don't need this. Race. Ooh. Anyway, let's see. Standard AI movement. So we're doing like a 30-minute race. Good God, really? I would love to go, guys. I see. So let's see what they race. We now got obviously a 6 second gap, and we, well, short before being dead last. So right now, with the track map being in place, we can see how much full throttle we can go until
The lap was a 1:33.73.
our tank will be empty. Which is 19 minutes at this rate. That means I put down the engine mixture a little bit and do a lot of lift and coast. I really want to restart that race, to be fair, because that's gonna be pointless or boring for you guys if I keep there in the back. So, going to restart. So you guys are right, they are not lift and coast as much, but they definitely run in a lower power setting. Being in P13 right now. Close to the wall.
That was a 1:18.63.
So with this usage we're gonna do 29 minutes of racing. So we need to keep in behind at first in order to then see whether we can push sooner or later. We're being right on the tail on the guy ahead. That was bad. They have a so much better go through the final corner, it's ridiculous.
That was a 1:05.94.
Maybe be able to pull out an overtake. Clever defending from the guy ahead. Pretty clever AI as long as they don't run side by side into the barriers. Oops. Oh dear, it's me touching the wall rather than the AI, so now the pressure is on a bit. Trying to pull out an overtake at some point. Maybe into the hairpin now.
That was a 1:05.19.
Not at all. But with a better acceleration out of it, I definitely gonna pull out the move now. Going to the outside. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Can we make it to the top though? That means we now need definitely to start going through that field. More aggressively, maybe. Not gonna work.
That was a 1:05.59.
Going past that guy clearly worked. Ah, thank you very much. That was unnecessary. So never do lift and coast when racing against the AI. It will simply kill. Can dive bomb maybe. Oh, he knows it. What I'm going to do. Anyway, trying to steal that position. And now I need to make up some time. 26 minutes to go in that race still. And calculations say we're short on fuel already. So we better take down the fuel mixture.
The lap was a 1:06.54.
Giving us a little less power. Yeah, I really need a push button. I know I'm not hitting the barrier. Sometimes when going a little wide into those hairpins, it's the AI that gives you a tiny little push there. As I'm now trying to make my way up to the very front. But they are not very slow, I have to say. Need to manage that gap to Heidfeld if I want to have a chance. So this Formula E type thing definitely requires a tiny bit of brain in terms of racing, being intelligent, being clever, being an economist.
1:04.48.
So it's definitely not this flat out hell yeah, am I gonna drive this thing hard mode. Staying behind for now. Really need to see how I can restore some energy. More efficient the better, obviously. It didn't really work, that switchback. They are fun to race, the guys there. I mean, as long as you take it easy right now, like I am. The car is very twitchy and icy and slippery, that's for sure. But as long as you don't overdrive it with full power and everything.
That was a 1:05.48.
Kinda nice to race, as I have to say. I'm still short on fuel, nevertheless. It leaves me enough space. Yeah, that was a good job by him. Definitely means need to be more clever. And don't do it do or die. Because it's rather we that die. So about this mod and the track, there is a full Formula E Energizer pack available on Steam for €9.75, which includes track and latest car. And I think if you don't just want to get the Hong Kong and the car bundle, it's €5. So just the same pricing model as going on with the GT3 pack as well. That was a mistake. And I need to gain a little bit more energy. Not gonna make it either to the finish or to the front with that engine mode setting. Well, think about, you should do a 23 lap race with that amount of fuel.
1:0.89.
So thinking about what we have at the minute, that's never going to be enough. Probably taking it down into next lower engine mapping. No. Yeah, losing out on a position here. Really need to see, manage a lot.
The lap was a 1:07.60.
And I'm losing out position for position. Could you? All right. Can we even finish that race? To be fair, I prefer going box. And I do think that the AI will have to pit as well. Getting in new fuel and a little bit more clean air, I hope. Definitely need to make it out of the pits before Nick Heidfeld's coming back from the lead, and then we will see where we end up. Could be, or could go very wrong though. Well, this is gonna be close. Only just in the back there is Heidfeld coming.
1:51.93.
But I do think they will have to pit. I mean, they are running in a lot less engine mode, yes. But I think they need boxing too. So what I'm gonna do is drive the hell fast now with a 200 kilowatts engine torque. Try to gain up the places when they box. So something that's very useful here for that type of race is definitely a race engineer. And I got a fresh set of tires, if I'm not mistaken. Could someone prove? I think we got a fresh set of tires also. So interesting stuff is now about to come. as I'm trying to close the gap. So guys, I'm now slightly getting ready for you to answer some questions. I've looked very much on my own right now for a couple of minutes. But now, since I don't focus on other AI driving around me, I think I can talk to you and answer some questions.
The lap was a 1:03.56.
Might be possible though that the AI will drive through the whole race without needing to pit anyway, because they were running in a lot lower engine mode, which I can see from their straight line speed and stuff.
1:03.79.
We could turn down the engine here as well to see what they were heading at. Probably it's 6 out of 10. And they hit 190. Probably it's even 5. I can run a lot of engine mode 10 now. Now I have registered myself for SRS on rFactor 2, but I might have a look later on and do a little live show. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. I don't really know yet, since I need to go to sleep soon.
The lap was a
In the beginning, the physics of this vehicle feel quite awkward and quite strange, but obviously, as with Africa, at some point you gonna I don't want to say deal with it, but you're going to get used to it. I think that's the best way to describe it. Yeah, definitely. It's a talk that is it's not annoying. In the beginning, it might be annoying, but after you get used to it, it's quite okay. I'm making up some time, and I'm able to race this car right on the edge with the amount of electricity left in the car right now. So I just need to put in good laps and see and hope that those AI guys will visit their pit right at the end of the race. So whatever race you will do on rFactor 2 with that Formula E mode being involved, it will require a lot of tactical driving, a lot of race strategy going on.
That was a 1:03.07.
And the longer I drive, the more enjoyable I think it is. Oh, yeah, I think the rear needs to be fixed.
The lap was a 1:02.83.
Overall impression of the car, it has too much rear tire usage, even when racing it in race mode because of the sliding going on, so that means the rear needs to be fixed. I think the rear end lacks a little bit of mechanical grip. Maybe it's because the weight is set so much in the back because of the heavy batteries being attached to the car. Other than that, if the rear would be a little bit less loosey, whereas the grip keeps the same at the front, would make the car in general a little bit more understeery, which would be fine to me really. But this rally style behavior that this car produces, like exactly that, that's something not too good. And I can see the AI is pitting. So now this is our chance. Still racing for the race win. It's very important to come out ahead of Jerome D'Ambrosio. Not sure if that's gonna be enough, but I assume that the AI needs to stand in the pit about 30 seconds, just like I had to. Oh no, I should not crash. 10 minutes remaining. It's gonna happen now. So I really need to be perfect now. As the next bunch of AI cars is hitting the garage. And we passed them right there. Everyone passed. That's great stuff.
The lap was a 1:04.48.
Right, so Nick Heidfeld probably now into the pits. So will be the other cars. Oh no, I should not spin right now. But yeah, as you can see, the rear tires are quite hot. Here's me pushing the car very hard now because that's the only chance getting ahead. And I do think I need to do one last on-track overtaking, which will be on Nick Heidfeld. So we were totally perfect with the undercut, pulling ourselves out of the traffic there. So Heidfeld already out on track again. No. So very close there. We're now in second place. And we got a gap of 8.5 seconds to cover in 8 minutes. And the rear tires are really in bad shape. Anyway, need to do a very good job right now. I can make up some time, hopefully. really racing the car on its maximum right now. Hence why it steps out again all over the place. I can see Nick Heidfeld running at the front there.
3.07.
Really need to look after these rear tires. And yeah, I mean, I can agree with Glimuril, if I pronounce that correctly from a fast glance at your name. Once you have driven it, you will even more understand what I'm trying to say about this car, or will especially make up your own mind about it, which is very important. You ask further questions and compare. While the gap now has decreased to 5 seconds. 6 minutes to go. So very important to stay... Oh, yeah. As I just said, the rear needs to have some fixing. And yeah, I got invulnerability turn on. Just for the sake of racing. Oh, the rear end becomes so loose right now. Not going to be able to go the pace I need, I think. Yeah, the car starts going sliding ever and ever again. Making those rear tires really lit up. Which then will make them slide through the final corner even more. Anyway, still gaining.
The lap was a 1:04.06.
With 5 minutes to go. Try to push even harder. Looks good so far. ID around turn 6. Here comes turn 7. And I'm going closer and closer. Fuel wise, I'm going even more on margin. So I got fuel left or electricity left for another 5 minutes. And I really need to make this work till the end of that race.
3.65.
So as it stands, I think Nick Heidfeld also running in the Mahindra. There will be a Mahindra 1-2 if we don't crash ending Nick Heidfeld's race. It's more me that crashes ending my race. I'm not allowed to do that and lose even more time. Gap is 3 seconds now, 3.5 minutes remaining. I need to come close now. And do good on whatever I'm doing here. Which also includes drifting the car around those corners.
That was a 1:04.76.
1.9 seconds, 1.8 seconds. Can we do it? So just one, oh no! No, we can't, as it stands. Yeah, that was the race win gone. Sadly though, a mistake into turn 2 that was. So we can now take it easy because we won't make up those this time in the end. Too bad, I really... Oh dear. And that's exactly what I mean about the rear needs to get some fixing. I mean, look at the tire percentages. Front tires still in shape, 92%. Rear tires close to being gone. And I stalled. Power, I need power. That's gonna be an interesting finish to the race. Reminds me a little bit of the Formula 3 or Formula 4 being held at Macau. Cars look good though, I have to say. The models are just fine. So 1 minute remaining. Gonna be the penultimate lap this time. Another spin. I really need to go so slow to make it around the corner without spinning.
The lap was a 1:11.10.
So time is 0, and I think as soon as Nick Heidfeld crosses the line, this race is finished. Yep, that's just the case. So we go around, final corner, just made a perfect pit stop. Maybe 1 lap too early. Getting into 2nd place there. Being on my cooldown lap. I'm really interested in that song that's played in the background there. In my opinion, it has some nice vibrations. You're allowed to say that. As we go into the pits, parking the car elsewhere in some garage. Probably the best thing would be to park it beside my teammate. I said park rather than stall. Right, anyway, we leave it here. Some interesting stuff with that Formula E involved there, I have to say. Generally, the car is very, very swampy and yeah, I don't know. I don't like it too much at the current state, but probably it is what it is, and I expect a lot of competitions to be held on it. And yeah, further updates will to come. I think maybe there's even some push to pass at some point, but that requires changing the rFactor 2 physics a little bit first, I think. Anyway, that's it for today with the sim pit from my side. I know that Sean Cole is doing another show at 6 p.m. US Pacific time, I think, which will be in, it's 9 hours back. So currently there is 5 p.m. Is that right? No, that's wrong. What I'm doing right now, it's 12 p.m. here. Minus. Yeah, so it's 17 currently in. No, it can't be right. Just not able to get on my head at the minute. It's 3 p.m. Pacific time at the minute, I think. So 3 hours from now, Sean Cole will be live with his next show. Doing some touring car racing, I think. Would have need to look it up again in his morning show there. Anyway, I just want you guys to show a little bit footage from the race action being seen live with me here. So yeah, that was probably one of the not too good examples of the AI being the AI. But anyway, looking those cars, they look exactly like the real cars look, especially on track. Like all the sliding going on out of the final, out of the slow corners. If you will watch a Formula E race, you will exactly the same, will see exactly the same car behavior. So yeah, definitely some interesting thing of Studio 397 and rFactor 2 being released here. Looks pretty neat, I have to say. They've done a good job on the track, I think. They've done a good job on the AI intelligence as well, I think. I mean, there are the general issues with being complete clever and stuff like that, like we just see in this footage here. But generally, I think they did a pretty much good job on the physics. Needs to be some tweaking in the back, as I already said. But anyway, insane like Hewis. What are you saying there about ACR and VBM or Vodbull Racing? That's some interesting thing. Not really sure what you're talking about there. Anyway, Inyafaz, it's nice that you had some fun with the Formula 1 car of FSR. We're surely gonna have a session on this FSR car again quite soon. But for now, I just can say, keep up with the pace, guys. Keep up watching us. I will be sure that Sean will appreciate you to join him on his iRacing Rally show, which comes up in 3 hours, so 6 p.m. Pacific US time. All I can say for now is thank you very much for watching. I'm Michi Hoyer from Avid Racing, and I was live for the Sim Pit, and we see you guys out on track. Have some fun there.